And we took a few relatives with us that should have been caged up. And then off we went back home. Stephen went to the South Shore with Nan and Papa. And on Wednesday we had to go and pick Stephen up. It was one of those beautiful days. You remember Wednesday was just gorgeous. So I thought, why not take advantage of the day and launch my large 8-foot skiff on the Lahade River. So that's just what we did. And Mom and Dad and I took the boat, each of us had one end of it, and we took it down across their property, across neighbor's property, down to the Lahade River. There we launched it. First I rowed up to the middle of Lahade, it was an 1/8 or a quarter of a mile. I rowed, Mom and Dad, and Stephen and myself. That would equal 550 plus, I figure. And weight, it's kind of hard to figure. No one would give their weight away. Says that they knew I was going to announce it before. But anyway, took them out, came back in, and then I got Nancy and Ted and myself, and we went up. Ted can't wear a life jacket, so I just put him around a little pool of water right there, and we fell over the outdoor nets. And Ted had a good rope. Then the real road came. I want to take Nancy and Steve and myself. I had a place I wanted to see down the Lahade, the yacht club. I like looking at the boats. It was about 2 1/4 miles down. So off we started, and it was one of those beautiful days. We admired the houses along the Lahade, beautiful homes, and admired the boats anchored. And Steve would say, "Go over by boats, go over by boats." And we'd go around the boat, making the trip a little bit longer. But we broke out the song as we went. You probably had some of those moments when the day's just right, the weather's just perfect, and you just feel great. And that's the sort of day it was like on Wednesday for us. It was one of those moments that reminds me of the words that we find in one poet, Robert Browning. And maybe you've heard it. The poem's entitled Song. The years at the spring, the days at the morn. Mornings at 7, the hillsides do curl. The larks on the wing, the snails on the thorn. God's in his heaven. How does it go? And all is right with the world. God's in his heaven. All is right with the world. Well, the scripture portions that we read today remind us that this is true. That God is in his heaven. And all is right with the world. They remind us that Christ, after he rose from the dead, appeared to his disciples for 40 days. And then, as we learned from Psalm 8, which was read for us this morning, Christ was exalted, and now he reigns. An experience that Philippians describes well, and you've heard before, that Christ humbled himself and he became obedient to death, even death on the cross. And so God exalted him, gave him a name that's above yours and mine, that at the name of Jesus, every knee might bow and every tongue confess that Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of God the Father. You remember when Jesus walked the earth, he was a mocked man, wasn't he? People made fun of him, even though he's a decent fellow. People made fun of him, and they crucified him. But hey, who had the last laugh? That's what we learn about in Hebrews. It says in Hebrews 2, God, you crowned him with glory and honor, and put everything under his feet. Now, that's not the way we think, is it? We usually think of the world revolves around us. Most of us think everything revolves around us, and if something goes awry, that the whole world is falling apart. And it reminds me a little bit of a story by J. Vernon McGee. Maybe you remember him from radio Bible class. He tells the story of an ant, and he says we're very much like ants. He says, for instance, if a man says, or a woman says, she says, Lord, if you're up there and I'm not sure you are, I'm pretty hard to convince because I have a giant intellect, and my intellect says that you may not even be up there. I just want to say, by the way, that you're wrong. And by the way, Lord, you make a lot of mistakes down yonder. Says Vernon McGee, what arrogance. Imagine if a little ant were to come and crawl on your kitchen chair and look up at you and say, I don't think I like the way that you paint your walls. I don't think I like the way that you read. In fact, I don't think I like your house. I like what Vernon McGee says. You know what I do? He says, I flip the air off the chair and I step on it. He said, thank heavens, God's more gracious to us than that. We usually forget that the world doesn't revolve around us. It revolves around Christ. Christ is in control. He's got the power. You know, we forget this until everything's sailing along fine and something happens. And then we realize, I am a human. I am a human after all. No, the Bible says the power rests with Christ. As the wonderful chorus goes, which speaks of Christ, you alone are my strength, my shield. To you alone shall my spirit yield. You alone are my heart's desire, and I long to worship thee. Christ is above this world, and power is ours only as we focus on Him. This is what Ephesians chapter 1, verses 18 and 19 say. Ephesians chapter 1, verses 18 and 19. I pray also that the eyes of your heart may be enlightened in order that you may know the hope to which He has called you, the riches of His glorious inheritance in the saints, and His incomparably great power for us who believe. So the power is Christ. And so Hebrews says, fix your eyes on Christ. Now we've talked in recent months about the fruit of the Spirit, one by one. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Well, let me ask you something. If Christ is the gardener and He plants the seed and we don't let Him tend it, what's the use of having the seed planted? Right? Kind of look at Christ for a moment, plant the seed, and we look away, then the seed won't develop. Unless we keep looking at Christ, we won't have those things in our life. You know, we're down on earth doing our thing, and we get so absorbed in all we can or cannot do, and we get in the thick of things. Do you ever feel like that? I feel like that right now. I feel like I'm in the thick of things. Too many things are taking place in my life. And so we think we have our right perspective when we're in this situation. Everything, we're in the thick of things. But you know, we forget Christ's perspective on things. Philippians says that Christ is high above all our earthly problems. And it says in Ephesians chapter 1, verse 18 to 22, that God exalted Christ and made the earth His footstool. Have you ever thought that the worst problem that you have is like a bunch of dust on Christ's feet? That's all it is. It's like a bunch of dust on Christ's feet. And you know what we humans are like? We're not like ants after all. I think we're like a bunch of chickens. You know, we cluck around picking up our piece of corn and worry whenever anything is askew in the old barnyard. Everything, rather than being a task we carry out to the best of our ability, becomes something we anxiously worry about. Or if our physical existence is threatened or hurt, then we forget about prayer. We forget about that God's got a home for us in heaven. And we concentrate only on our perspective that all is lost. And we forget what Paul says, that this world isn't the only world we're supposed to be living for. And as things are tight financially, we get all depressed. And we live as though we believe that money makes the world go around. We do, whether or not we want to admit it. Because money makes us either depressed or makes us happy, doesn't it? In other words, we live with our eyes fixed on everyone else and everything else except for Christ. Oh, what does so-and-so think? Who cares? What does Christ think? Christ, who has all creation as His footstool. Colossians 3 reminds us that since you have been raised with Christ, set your hearts on things above, where Christ is seated at the right hand of God. Set your mind on things above, not on earthly things. For you have died, and your life is now hidden with Christ in God. The point is, if we saw things from Christ's perspective, we'd worry less and pray more. And we'd get less anxious when we couldn't control every event in our life. 100 years after Christ, the fellow said this, and quoting here, he said, "It is not the events themselves that disturb us, rather it's our judgment upon the events." It's not the events themselves that disturb us, rather it's our judgment on the events that take place in our lives. And of course, we know that everything isn't all right with the world, don't we? And that's why Hebrews adds, it says, Christ is in control of everything. Then it says, yet at present we don't see everything subject to him. Well, that's not hard to figure out. Local taverns or bars, look, the video gambling machines, right? If people were really looking out for the things of Christ and Christ's interest, there wouldn't be any video lottery terminals, because that hurts people. And if everything was all right, you and I wouldn't get mad at others and get angry and show our hurt in unpleasing ways. If everything was all right, we'd know how to forgive others. If people knew Christ, they'd love him more, and they'd love others more. But everything isn't subject to Christ, not even our garbage collection. Okay, so what is subject to Christ? Here it is. You are and I am, if we let him be the center of our lives. You are and I am, if we own him as Lord. Ephesians says that God made everything subject to Christ and everybody because he's the head of the church. What does this mean? Well, we can keep our eyes fixed on Christ and we can say, as silly as it may sound, God's in his heaven and all is right with the world, with my world. We can say that if we keep our eyes fixed on Christ. But if we take them off, we can't say it anymore. And the moment we take our eyes off Christ, we cease being able to say it. What does that mean? It means that as parents, we can be optimistic. I've heard one parent after another whom I visit say, what's going to happen with this world? Well, who cares what happens with this world? Do your best for the world, look at Christ, and you've got a much better hope. Without Christ and the principles he gives us in our lives, we're lost. But with those principles, we have some hope in our families. We have opportunity to pray in our families, to read our scriptures. A lot of students are graduating this year from our area. When I was working over in Lunenburg County, I had to speak to the